Good morning, everybody. That was Adagio for strings. Very sad, somber. So yes, we did have a loss today, and looks like a lot of you showed up. Even Hans is in here today too. So how's it going, Hans? So I'm imagining that a lot of you are going to be interested in what I say today, especially those of you that are following my my SimpleTrader as well, and the Recovery Man on top of that. So what can I say? Losses happen, and sometimes they can be prevented, and sometimes they can't. And a lot of times I am able to prevent those losses by trying to make the trade better. That includes basket trading. Now, a lot of you could say that basket trading is bad. This is one reason why you shouldn't do it, is because people like me have losing trades like this. Well, just look at basket trading and who's doing it. You'll see that pretty much every one of Nick's traders, including Gold Star, Viper, everybody does it. All the profitable traders, long-term profitable traders, do basket trading in some form. Now there are some people, that's not to say that there aren't some traders that are profitable without basket trading. There are. But you also have the problem of lost equity and balance in particular. Your balance gets hit because you have a losing trade, and so you have to have profitable trades in order to counter that losing trade, or to make up for that loss. And that can take time, and it can be frustrating to have the dips, you know. But I've had those same dips, unfortunately, in the last 2 months. Now I'm going to pull up that for you now. Now, if you guys are writing questions, I'll answer as many as I can today, if possible. So this is my account. Now, we had the 7% loss there, and I did end up pulling a 7.78%, so just over 7% today. The reason why is because I wanted to wait for the USD news to see if there was a drastic change, and if it was heavy USD. I didn't expect the actual data to really move the markets that much, but if it was heavily negative, it could have helped me a little bit, at least hold on to my trades a bit longer, maybe through NFP. But that wasn't the case. The pound continued to show pressure even before the news even happened, before the New York session really even started, for that matter. So the biggest loss or one of the biggest losses I took was on the Euro Japanese Yen back in July, I believe. And then I took another 5% and then a 1.5. Now these two, the 5% and the 1.5, actually would have turned out to be profits in here, profitable baskets, if I would have held on to them until the 7% cutoff. Now this one I decided to hold on to for the 7% cutoff, and it hit. So just a little bit unfortunate luck. You know, as long as people don't like to admit this, there is some luck in trading. That's just fact. We can't read the markets completely. We don't know exactly what they're going to do. The best weapons that we have against or for the market is the hints that we can get, either through price action, trend lines, or whatever it may be for the system that you're trading. But there's always some luck involved. The skill, and of course skill is important. And the skill side on me in my trading is knowing when the pair or the market is going to have a reversal, and that's, you know, the counter trend. That's what I do, and so I'm looking for these kickbacks. Now, unfortunately, the pound has had a lot of pressure, and when the fundamental side is running the markets, it's really hard to trade in general when the fundamental side is really directing this push. Now it's been pretty heavy push since the beginning of the week, and the price action has shown some areas that there could be some bounces, and there was some bounces that happened here, and then here, and there could be one coming up. I closed out my trade right about in this area. Closed out all my GU trades. Now there's some recovery happening, and I expect that to be minimal before the push back down. There's not a whole lot of reasoning for the pound to bounce yet. Now we have to wait until NFP tomorrow, and that could be a reason for it to really go to bounce up. Now there was a question on the thread, and I'll get to the other questions in the chat soon. There was a question in the thread, and I can read that to you guys now. It was from Daz or Days 1975. Says, in hindsight, Ryan, do you believe that holding the trade beyond no technical support or resistance levels for over a decade was like rolling the dice and praying for a good result, or were you there other factors you saw opportunity? Yes, the idea of new lows is a little bit scary, yeah, I'd admit. But if you scroll back and so this low, the 28.6 level was pretty important because it was the last level of support pretty much. I mean, if you're looking at the very lowest, it was about 28, so 128. Was the last line of defense before new lows were being made. Now, when the new lows were made after the Brexit on the pound, there were multiple areas that it could bounce. Now, after a big push, like you see here after the Brexit vote, there were areas of retracement that happened. Now, just because it makes new lows does not mean that it's going to continue on the downside. When it makes new lows, that is all the more reason it's in unknown territory. So it could keep going, but honestly, when it's in unknown territory, it's hard for people to really keep pushing something when they don't really know how far it's going to go. The lower it moves past or into unknown territory, the more I feel that there is potential for bounce, for some kind of retracement. Now, I admit I was wrong. I played it out, and it made new lows, and it's broken that last level by 176 pips. But it does mean that it can reverse anytime in this area, though. I mean, there was one small retracement there, and there could be another one soon. But the pound has moved down 800 pips since just a month ago. It's overdue for a large retracement. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen or that it will happen soon, but I'm not one to keep driving this down. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to put in counter trend trades for this pair, but I'd be more likely to put in counter trend trades than to continue to ride the trend down. That would just be that's stupid to me. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but keep in mind how much it's moved in that time frame. In just a month, 800 pips. So what I'm saying is that in hindsight, you could say that I'm a bad trader. You could say that it was a mistake to counter trend trade. in the beginning of the week. You could say all sorts of negative things into why I had this loss. But it's hindsight, guys. You can complain all you want. And to be honest, anything could have happened. The pound could have shot up, and I could have been in profit, and you guys wouldn't have said anything. If anything, you would have said, "Oh, that's nice read on the market." And so, why say these things in hindsight? Like, "Oh, you're stupid, you're wrong, this and that," when honestly it doesn't matter, because you could have been just as wrong as well. So I played this as best I could, and I can show you what I think I took a couple pictures yesterday. There we go. So this was yesterday. This was when we were really close. We were less than 25 pips to the take profit level that I had. So my bottom order, so order 5, was placed at a pretty good level, near the whole number at 127. And we also had an inside candle and then the bounce up. It just wasn't enough. I needed about 80 pips from my bottom order, and didn't quite get it. Now at this point I was still at about a 1% drawdown, so I couldn't have closed out. And in hindsight, again, I could say, oh well, if I would have known that it was going to reverse right at that point, I could have pulled out the trade, and that would have been it. But again, you just never know if this could continue or not. This is right before the PMI data came out. The PMI data for the USD that came out yesterday really hurt my trade a lot. There was a really good recovery going on, and then that data came out and it set me back. I think if that data was negative, I probably would have been out of the trade in profit. But you know, things happen. So the only order that I feel like it was a mistake or a problem in this entire 5 trades was this one. So order 3, and then this was a pending order that was placed when I was not around. It went through that level pretty clean. But all the other levels, here, here, and here, all had some kind of retracement that happened. And this one. But this one did not. It shows that this wasn't really an area of support or resistance, or not one that was important enough. But all the other ones that I chose did show some kind of bounce. Now that's the problem, is that I just don't know how long how much that bounce is going to be. I had some pretty good success on guessing or predicting that there would be some bounce at these levels. Now I could have been exited out the order 1, order 2, right in here. So these two trades would have been closed out. But I would have actually re-entered this position, or the market, back on the 4-hour chart, which would have been around in this area, I believe. And then I would have entered again down here. I would have actually been out of this trade completely. So the mistake word this in this trade was holding on to it too long. Why did I hold on to it longer here? Because there was a 4-hour candle that was showing me a more of a bounce in this area, and it was pretty much ignored. The 4-hour candle, I think, happened in here, and it just didn't quite happen. That was probably the largest mistake of the entire thing. But if I were to look back on the trade, honestly, there weren't huge mistakes that were made, unfortunately. The biggest one, I would say, probably was this order here, but I'm not sure how much of a difference it would have made. Actually, yeah, it would have made a pretty big difference. I think I would have been out of this trade if this order was not executed, because it would have given me one less order, and I think I would have been able to close out and profit otherwise. So yeah, I would say this order is the biggest mistake. These two I could have closed out earlier, and we would have been in profit or closed out in small profit. But because of the 4-hour candle and showing some more of a bounce, I did hold on to it, and I feel like that was a wise decision. But yeah, again, order 3 was the biggest mistake there, and unfortunately, price didn't behave as it should at that level. All right, so where to go? Where am I going from here? Sorry for. I'll get to the questions here in a second, guys. Gosh, there are a lot of questions. Actually, I don't need this headset anymore. Not right now. So, the account as it stands, we're at 3.2% profit. Now, if you guys look from my when I started the account back in April, you'll see that I had a really good track record. We had a little bit more normal activity in the market at this time, and then things just kind of started turning into chaos, and I had these losses. If you guys look at the other traders out there, like Smart2, Kilimanjaro, those two guys were cut by Nick, and it's because they were suffering a lot. Kilimanjaro has been suffering for a lot longer than just the past 2 months, as Smart2 as well. But this has been a really tricky time to trade, and I'm sure that even Hans could tell you that as well, since I believe that he may be still in here. Hans had some of his highest drawdown that he has in a while, in many months actually. The markets are trending pretty heavily right now, and many of the pairs are, and so counter trend trading is a little bit difficult at the moment. Now, how I'm going to approach this from here on out, there's some things I need to, I guess, reevaluate, and that is the counter trend idea. When is the best time to do it, and am I entering my trades at the best possible time? Now, there's something I'm considering. Now, if you guys look at my FX book results, you'll see that most of my results are positive. Yeah, I have this pullback at 13 times risk that was down 44%, but that was a really small account. It was like a loss of like $100 or something. But if you guys look back on my previous results, you'll see that I had 93% back on this account when I started back in April of 2015. Pretty smooth results besides the high drawdown in this area. It was actually 50% of my account. Now, I was actually doing some of my same kind of counter trend trading in this whole entire area. But this trade here, I actually held on it for, was it 500 pips or something, or close to like 600. That's what caused the 54% drawdown. Eventually, it did come back, but it took like a month and a half. Now, the rest of the action was scalping. Some of you guys know that I do I scalp trade, and this is on a broker with high leverage, 400 to 1. Now, the other account that I did was strictly scalping, and that was 70% over the course of 5 months. I don't think I traded much in December, with only a 12.89% drawdown and a 70% profit. Now that was some of my best results. So if you're looking at my results and you're trying to decide what's my most profitable strategy, what have I made the most money from in trading? It's actually the scalping that I've done. I've made the most off of scalping, and you can see that I've grown 93%, and then on top of that, the 69% on top of that as well. So most of my profits have been made in trading in the last 16 months have been made from scalping. This is also a 501 one leverage account. Now I can't make these results on Oanda with scalping. I can't make 18%, 17% per month with Oanda because their leverage is too low. It's 50 to 1. But what I'm considering is potentially going back to my roots and going back to scalping. What I've done to make a lot of my forex profits. You know, I'm a decent trend trader. I'm a decent counter trend trader. But counter trend trading is my counter trend trading has been obviously struggling a little bit over the past couple of months. Things have been moving with not a lot of retracement. So pairs have been moving with not a lot of retracement. Now some of you may be a little bit, I don't know, scared or cautious that I potentially may be changing some things up. It's not necessarily the strategy that you should be looking at. It should be the trader that you're looking at. When I see a trader changing his strategy, sometimes that can be a little bit scary, and you kind of start to wonder why he's changing. Now, my account's not that bad quite yet. Yeah, it may not look the most amazing thing right now with my losses, but I mean, you still look at it. I'm still in profit. What I'm trying to do here is make changes before things start to go into negative territory. So what I'm asking you is to trust in the trader, not necessarily the system. Now, if I'm making changes, I'm making changes because I see that that it's fitting. The markets are always changing. Most of you know that. Even some of the new traders in here know that the markets are always changing. So we have to adapt in some ways. We have to adapt even the systems that we're trading. I mean, look at Viper. He's had to his trading has completely adapted and changed over the course of the many months that he's been with Nick at Forex Signals. Yeah, some may say that he's struggling, or they don't like his new technique, or why he's holding on to these trades. I mean, he has his reasons. But you still see that he's overall profitable in the long term, even though it's less profit than before. So, again, trust in the trader that he or she is making the correct adjustments to adapt to what the market is giving them. Okay, so I guess that's my spiel, and how I plan on going back. So to finish up on that, when I'm considering going back to my roots, now I need to do some testing over the weekend, and I'll be back likely for maybe some trades later today or tomorrow, depending on how they look with my counter trend trading. But I'll play it out, and I will continue to keep my account at 7% risk profile. I think that's fair for people to be aware of that, and for me to not change that aspect I don't want them to go from a 7% risk profile to like a 14 or a 20, because that really messes up your expectations on my trading and how to approach it. So I will be evaluating this my time of my best trading, which is scalping, the benefits of scalping, and the drawbacks of scalping as well. Scalping means that you can get into trouble quickly, but it also means that you can profit quickly as well. So the positive is we won't be holding trades for long periods of time. In most cases, the longest that would be holding trades for is usually 30 minutes or so. Now I can't make this kind of profit at Oanda, so I would have to break down my risk profile a lot. It would have to be about 10 times less than this. So yes, over 5 months, I'm actually just going to say 4 months. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 months with this account, just scalping. I made 70%. Now the thing is that because of the leverage at Oanda, I have to cut this down by 10 times. So this would be 7%. 7% profit and a 1.2 or 1.3% drawdown. Now 7% over 4 months is okay. It's not amazing. It's actually better than how I'm doing right now. And we wouldn't be in trades for long periods of time. The other problem with that is that I'm still going to have that 7% cutoff, which is, unfortunate. I could lower it depending on the action that we're getting. Now my average drawdown is 13%. So I could cut my trades at technically at 1.5%, something like that. But I won't break the 7% rule on my trading. That is important to me. I feel like I can change the profit, either a little bit lower or a little bit higher, but I can't change the loss amount for those of you that are still trading with me or still choose to trade with me. I imagine that I'm going to lose some subscribers. It happens when people have losses. I understand that. But I'm here doing this stream, not hiding like a lot of people seem to do when they have losses, to talk to you guys, to be here when somebody has a losing day or a bad day. What is it like for you to see somebody else having a losing day? And how do they approach it? What's next? Things like that. And I think it's important for you to see that, especially here on the live stream. But all that matters to me is that I know that I'm going to be sticking with it. I will be making some changes as I'm describing to you now. But the changes will still be within the confines of my risk profile. I don't want to get carried away, and I still want to profit. Now, if you go to my FX book, you'll see that most of my accounts that I've done over the last 16 months are in profit, whether that's counter trend trading, whether that's basket trading, whether that's scalping or trend trading. I'm able to do all of them. So again, I'm asking for you to trust in me as a trader that I will make the adjustments accordingly to continue to recover this account and the ones that and the others that I'm trading as well. That includes my EA account. All right, so I'm going to try to answer some questions since I know there's a lot of them coming in. Yeah, I don't know if that's the same shirt. If I wear the same shirt today, but I mean, it's just this. I guess it's the same color. You can't really. It looks black, but It's actually kind of a gray shirt. Yeah, Hans, thanks for posting that that Photoshop again. Yeah, Robert FX. Yeah, they did use that piece in Platoon. Very sad, very solemn. Yeah, guess it works for my personality today, unfortunately, and for also for the people that that lost with me. The new headset's supposed to be coming today, but I don't think it's arrived yet. How's it going, Corky? And Morfess? A lot of you guys showed up today. We showed up with pitchforks, yeah. Really, Robert. I don't blame you. Don't praise my basket training without wearing my fan shirt. Oh, Hans. Yeah, Hans. With all the profits that you're making, you should make a bunch of those shirts and sell them. You could have a merchandise line. Wrinkle guy, the strategy is actually pretty good with the trend. It would be very, very good right now. That's a good question. Why don't you use your same strategy with the trend? I have done that a little bit, and it'd actually be quite good. But if you guys remember, I did come out with you with a couple of trade ideas yesterday. One of them was the odd USD. Now the bounce at this level here is what I was hoping for or expecting. And you can see that that didn't happen. It broke down through the support level, but it did have some minor push there. But it did break out, and it will probably likely continue. Now the other trade ideas that I came up with were the Euro Australian dollar. Now this one was with the trend. This was an inside candle with a new higher low. And it did bounce. It did have some kickback, but then it did go and hit our take profit level. That's this. I marked the 47,490 as a good take profit level for that entry. So that would have been a good 35 pips on that trade for that position. Now the EuroCAD position, not as good. This is the entry candle that I was looking at. Take profit was about up this line at 48.3, about 48.3. Now it's kicked back a bit, quite a bit. Initially it did jump up a lot, and then it went back down, and now it's kind of playing in this area for a bit of a range. So that trade is not wouldn't be in huge drawdown at the moment, just about 18 pips. So the 35 on the Euro Australian dollar and the Australian the odd USD would be in a bit of drawdown right now. The thing is that this trading it wouldn't be that much different, honestly, than counter trend trading. If I did this strategy with the trend, I would still have similar issues where I'd get into bad trades because the trend has changed directions. And a lot of times when the trend changes directions, so it starts off with a retracement, then that retracement becomes larger, and then you're like, wait a second, this retracement is now turning into a trend. And by the time that you realize that, it's already too late, and the trend continues, and then you're in deep drawdown. So honestly, the markets aren't trending all the time. Now, recently, in the last couple of months, they've been trending a lot. The saying is that markets are only trending 30% of the time on the majors. and recently it feels like it's been a lot more. So this type of trading, trading that I just mentioned, so what you were saying, Rinko guy, it would be working better than my counter trend trading because trends are strong right now. But what happens when the trends start dying down and markets start to become more ranging? Then that trend trading becomes less profitable. And what if the markets become flat? Then both the counter trend and the trend trading are struggling. So you'll see that markets go in these I guess these phases. So yeah, counter trend trading is not working the best at the moment in the last couple months. It's because the market's been trending. But like I said, once they stop, what happens? Okay? So you guys have to be aware that because I'm losing right now, it doesn't mean that it has to continue like that. It doesn't mean that counter trend trading is bad, but it does mean that right now may not be the best time to do it. So the idea of waiting maybe for some more normal market activity where the trends aren't constantly being pushed so heavily, that you know or can have some insight into how or when it's changing, when that more normal activity of some trend trading and some counter, but just more of a mix instead of just one type of thing going on in the market right now. Okay, so I'm still reading some of the questions here. Pip, any thoughts on EU? My thoughts are be very careful with the NFP. Volatility is going to go way up. I'm going to be I don't think I'll be on for tomorrow for the stream. I'm going to be traveling, going out of town for the weekend. So I won't be here tomorrow during NFP, so it's likely I probably won't put in some trades if I'm traveling. But my recommendation is that the Euro US dollar has been a little bit of a sketchy situation. Down here, up, back down. The overall idea is that there is USD strength, and we'll see if that transfers over through the NFP. But the dollar is strong right now on all pairs. I mean, it's really showing on the UJ and the EU, but especially in the GU. I mean, but especially the UJ has been really getting some nice trend action going on. The thing is with the EJ is that it's even worse than when it comes to retracements. It's even worse than the pound. Since September 30th, it's had almost no retracements. I mean, they're so small in here, and then maybe a minor one there, but they're not even like more than 20 pips, I believe. Yeah, 25, 20 to 30 pips. So I wouldn't put any trades in on the EU unless you plan on holding them through the NFP, whether that be that you're playing the USD strength or playing USD weakness. But I would likely hold on to or not trade during the NFP before the news comes out. After is something that you could consider if the results are strong. USD, then look for a good place to buy USD. If they're negative, then there's probably some potential for the euro to gain some value, and look for a good entry there. So just be careful. I recommend not trading the EU until the NFP news is released. Potter, maybe you can use any constructive criticism, including your own, to hone your strategy. Yeah, no, that's very true. I'm always listening. As you can see, that I'm replying to my thread and the questions that are placed here and other places as well. And I'm listening. Yeah, there's going to be people that are mad and angry and say mean things, but that's to be expected. I know that if I were in that situation and I joined a trader, and I paid a monthly subscription in the hopes that he would deliver, but there are no guarantees, and so I would be upset. Yeah, but I wouldn't be mad at the trader, because I understand how hard it is to be a profitable trader. One, and that it was a risk on my part for paying for a subscription and putting my money at risk, in the hopes that that trader will provide profitable results. Now, the problem with traders, with new traders especially, they expect results very quickly. They don't. They expect not to have any drawdown periods, and they want to find basically a trader that never loses. And honestly, we all do. You'll see a lot of strategies on SimpleTrader, that non-losing strategies, and honestly a lot of them haven't been really proven, and they all are prone to have a crash, or to have drawdown which the user or the EA will cut off in loss. So you're always prone to losses. We try to minimize them as much as we can, but they do happen. So yeah, I am up for constructive criticism, but unfortunately, Potter, most of the time it's not constructive. Most of the time it's just criticism, and the constructive side is usually put aside because of emotion. Oh yeah, absolutely. After all, isn't that how we improve? Yeah, I agree. Any thoughts on GU? Well, yeah, I think it's going to continue to go down. NFP, honestly, I think that the NFP results would have to be really heavily negative USD for there to be a decent recovery on the pound. But I do think that the overall outlook is that the pound is going to continue down with minor retracements. Like we had a minor retracement there, that was the largest one, and then it jumped back down. So honestly, yeah, I do feel like the pound is going to continue to be on the negative side until we have some kind of surprise result or report saying otherwise. That the Brexit scares are not as bad, and that the recovery, the outlook is looking stronger. But right now, we haven't really gotten a lot of that, and that's one reason why I didn't hold on to these trades any longer, is just because I don't see a positive side outcome yet on the fundamental side of things. The price action showed a lot of potential bounces in this area, but the fundamental side was driving the pair or the pound in general, causing the retracements that I saw had potential in price action not to have as much of an effect. In that case, a lot of the price action was being ignored. Not necessarily ignored like it has been, like it does on the Japanese yen pairs, but it's just the retracements were very minimal. don't know what this talk about the third arm everybody's talking about is. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, Joe Pro. Are you talking about hint R gray, little, I guess, picture of the arm, the muscle? Is that what you're talking about? Third arm, I guess. I mean, I get what you're talking about, but I'm still trying to figure out how this came about. Is what I'm getting at. Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I got to run far away from hint gray. Yeah, Mozzie, yeah, I agree. Yeah, Pip for Corky. Yeah, I agree. So why did you change? I didn't change strategies, Winston. I actually kept. I was doing the same thing. Oh, you're talking about from scalping to not scalping? That's a good question, and I can get into that now. So you guys know that this is my scalping account. The reason why I changed is because of the leverage. Honestly, because of the leverage. I was using Forex Broker Inc., and you guys know that they're a not regulated broker. My account was getting pretty large. At the highest, it was 17 grand. I withdrew some of the profits there. And I was thinking that I'm starting to get a little bit high on the profits, and so I should be a little bit more wary about how much money I have at these unregulated brokers, because they could just take my money anytime, and I wouldn't be able to track them down. So I withdrew my funds and decided that I wanted to move to a U.S. regulated broker. And I was going to have to modify a few things in order to profit at a 50 to 1 leverage, and with the FIFO regulations, it makes things also more difficult. And so I stopped the scalping. And I also saw that there was some potential for some problems with scalping. Yeah, my drawdown was pretty low, but I was putting my entire account, so my entire 17,000 was at risk on this account. With the amount of lots that I was trading. Yeah, my actual drawdown was low, but it's because I was trading really nice. I was picking very good positions, and so I was able to not put a lot of risk on my account. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking is that if I choose correctly, then my drawdown will also be low when I choose to trade this on my current account. Now I have to do it at 10 times less risk, which is really unfortunate, but I still should be profiting at anywhere from maybe 1.5% to 2% per month. I may up the risk just a tad to try to keep in the 3% per month area. I think that's a really nice place to be, and then we'll see how the results go. So if I trade this for the next month and we do say 2%, then and my drawdown's low, I might increase the risk just a tad to see if we can squeeze out a little bit more profit while keeping the drawdown around the same area. So that's how I see it. So I did make the biggest change because of unregulated brokers. and that was the reason why I left. If there wasn't a regulated, if I could keep my leverage at 500 to 1 in the US under regulation, I probably wouldn't have stopped trading like this. Why don't close a basket at 1 to 2% max in this market conditions? Take max loss happens again and again. That's true. I've evaluated maybe doing that in the past. So if we go back to my other account, let's see. So let's say that I took 4% losses here and a 4% loss here, and this one I think, I'm not sure if this one would have hit 4% or not. Let's say that it didn't hit 4%, and these ones, actually I think this one would have hit 4%. So that would have been 3% extra profit for, or that's 4 total. We would have been looking at a better number. So we have 3.2% profit now, and the number probably would have been it would have we probably would have been looking at about I would guess about 7% profit total. So we would have had probably another 3 to 4% profit on the account if I closed out everything at a 4% loss instead of a 7. It's something that I've toyed with, yeah, and it's something that I could do now. But the thing that's really difficult is now, since I've had a loss, and I've started down the 7% path, it's a little bit difficult now to change that until I get back to my high water mark, which is up here at the about 13% profit. So something that that definitely could be looked at in the future, because the 4% doesn't get hit too often, and right now I would be in a better boat if I did have a 4% cutoff. 1 to 2% is a little bit too little. It's too little, I think. Not enough room to really let the trades breathe. All trades, 245, yeah, I agree. Thanks, Robert FX. I agree. But most of the time, the problem with people, with traders changing their strategy, is the followers that they have. They don't trust that the changes that they're making are going to be positive. That it worries them. It worries them that they are going to start losing or have issues. The risk profile is going to increase. The profit is going to be lowered. There's a lot of things that are unknown. But you can see that I am a trader that is, I guess I can say I'm skilled in a lot of different areas of trading. That at this point I know what has worked for me in the past, what will work for me again, and what may continue to work. It's all about evaluation and trying to read when the markets, or when your system is going to be trading best in the current market condition. The scalping is not an EA, just in case Rinko guy, you were wondering that. So this account was not an EA. This was me trading manually, scalping. Now, if you're talking about the EA that I'm running, well, it's looking pretty rough as well at the moment. So we have 467% margin, which we still have some left to go, but we are in quite a bit of drawdown at the moment. Now I need the EA would need for the NFP to kind of help the results here and push back down, and the EA is expecting that to happen. Now if it doesn't, it can hold on for a bit longer. And if you guys remember me telling you that the EA has worked with some higher drawdown, has worked since the year 2000, so the last 15 years. It does not mean that it's going to continue to work, but it means that it has a lot of history, a lot of euro-pound history under its belt to work with, and its behaviors, at least over the past 16 years. Behaviors can change in the pair, we know that, but as long as it stays within some kind of boundary, then this EA will be able to pull out in profit. Now, every system has drawbacks. We heard of Gold Stars, or Hans's EA, has a weakness, and that weakness is very similar to my EA, right, that I have right now. Is this EA expects that the euro pound is going to do ranging. But when it starts trending, the pair is not really known for doing heavy trends without some kind of big retracement or some kind of large range that happens. Typically, this pair does a larger range, excuse me. But recently, since the Brexit, it's been trending a lot more because the pound has been taking such a hit, and so the euro pound is also following suit. Alright, so as long as this, we have a lot of room. The EA is in a good 160 pip drawdown, and we're looking at about a 7 or so % drawdown, I believe. Okay, so just under 7%. It's like 6.5. Robert FX, I can scalp at Oanda. This is a FIFO regulated scalping. I just can't make a whole lot of profit. I can do, like I said, 1 to 3% per month scalping, but I don't have a lot of room on my scalping, so I have to start very small, and I can't make a lot of profit because of the leverage restraints. But the scalping means that you'll be in and out of trades very quickly. There won't be drawdown periods, which honestly I feel like a lot of people are going to love. Because if there's any moments of stress when we're in multiple trades, it will be for 30 minutes, and then that's that. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to have losses. Now, it's likely that by the time I hit the highest level of my scalping, that I'll have to, before I run out of margin. Basically, when I run out of margin, I'm going to have to cut losses, and usually that will be in the roughly probably anywhere, like I said, up to the 7% mark. It could be before that. It could be less, anywhere from if I were to guess, 3 to 7% on the loss end. But it won't exceed that 7%. I'll still cut trades at that level. But if you saw my previous trading history, like I did at Forex Broker Inc., you'll see that 12% drawdown, even with 10 times the risk. So I should have a lot of room to profit, and trades will be in and out quickly. Something that I know noob traders love is watching profit come in quickly. They like to see the account growing, whether it's small percentages each day, but they like to see profitable trades, and they don't like to see them in drawdown, because that means that they have to wait. And it's not just new traders; it's all traders in general. That's why scalping is so popular in general is because it means that you don't have to hold trades for a long period of time, and typically you can get some pretty good profit. All trades, 245. Ryan, remember we've just come out of summer. Give yourself some time. Of course, yeah. I mean, I agree. But every trader needs to make some changes, whether to combat the current market. All trades. That's a good question. Have you not been in this place with the strategy? Why not reduce your position size, work through it so you can improve the strategy? Very good. That's good constructive criticism, which, like I was saying before, it doesn't happen very often. I can reduce the lot size. It means I'd make less profit. I'd be risking less, though. But I have been to this place before with other strategies. Not necessarily with this one yet. We've been trading this for exclusively live in front of people for the last 6 months. But I haven't been here with this system. But I have been to this same location with other systems. And a lot of traders out there, especially this experienced ones, have multiple systems. One for when the markets are trending, one for a ranging market, one for a flat market, and some for scalping. So it just, you have your kind of arsenal of systems for the different type of market behaviors. So that's not like I'm trashing my counter trend system. I may be putting it aside for a little bit to explore other options, to reevaluate the time that it's being traded. I don't mean like the time frame. I mean that the current market condition. Everyone has losses, no big deal. I agree. Yeah, and that's just something that we have to cope with. Oh, is Tony doing NFP? Yeah. Okay, good, because I won't be here. So I'm glad that somebody's covering it. 60-minute man. Your thoughts are changing your trade management, holding winners longer, cutting losers sooner. I don't think trend is the issue. I don't think entries are the issue. Just need to consider different stop, take profit scenarios, in my opinion. 60-minute man, very good constructive criticism as well. I do not think that my entries are the problem. I don't necessarily think my exits are the problem either. But something that could be reevaluated is the 7% mark, loss cutoff. Yeah, that could be something that I could look into minimizing, so lowering that to say 4% or maybe even a little bit less, and potentially holding the winners a bit longer. My entries are good. I know that my entries for the strategy are pretty spot on, and the market does react a lot of times to my trigger candle or to my entries, which is good. It means that I know where to enter the trades. But something that I could evaluate is also using, instead of using those areas for as a trigger candle to get into the market, what about using those triggers, so the inside candle, what I'm talking about, as an exit for my trades? So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. But the thing is that there are so many different things you could look at to reevaluate this system, and kind of one thing that I want to do. So in the meantime, while doing that, I don't want to explore these new ideas or these changes within the system, so within my counter trend trading system, while you guys are with me, while you're trading with at SimpleTrader with me. I don't want to be trying out new things that I haven't really explored yet. I don't think that's fair to you. So that's why I'm going back to what you see here, my scalping, something that I know that I have a proven track record with in the past, and I've done really well with. And yeah, I have to minimize the risk, but it's something that I know that I can do, and I can do almost in any market. It trades mostly Euro, US dollar. So that's something that I'm going to be consider using while exploring some potential changes with the counter trend. Whether it be a smaller risks amount, or holding trades for longer, or holding trades for shorter, or cutting losses sooner, all that kind of stuff. And so I want to give it a little bit of time. I don't know how long that will be, either maybe a week, maybe longer, before I come back and tell you guys, this is what I found out, this is the new idea, this is what I plan to do. But in the meantime, I still wanted to show you guys that I'm able to make some profit, and in a safe way, not getting out of hand. The idea with scalping is it will be done on the Euro US dollar for the most part. Maybe I'm not even going to mess with the pound right now, but the Euro US dollar, because the spread is low, and I will be looking for small pip amounts. And the trades will be in and out, and I'll do that for the next week, to show you guys how this will pan out, and then we'll explore the other options with the counter trend idea. The risk profile will be the same. Will be the max 7% cutoff. But we will be using a different strategy that will be in and out of trades quickly. Now, I won't be trading the news. I won't be trading a little bit before the news, or after, or a lot of times after the news. And I look for a very particular market where it's not too volatile, and not the volatility. So I want the volatility to not be too much or to be too little. I kind of want it to be in this middle area, so I can scalp without too much problem. Robert, yeah, I think it is in drawdown, yeah. Like I said, it was about 6% now, I believe. But once if it does come out in profit, so down in this area, likely for the recovery, it will come out with a pretty big profit. But yeah, Potter, it's because there's so many freaking questions that I do spend a lot of time responding to each question, but I don't know. I feel like I owe it to the members to have a detailed response to what they're asking. I'm in Maryland. I'm not out of town. I'm still here. Why not use a higher leverage broker outside the U.S. if scalping? I could, and but I'm not sure. I think I'm kind of done with putting my money in these non regulated brokers. I feel like their time is limited too. There's rumors now that Telenex is going to be canceling their U.S. clients, or they're not accepting them anymore. And I feel like it's only a matter of time before MyFX Choice and FX Broker Inc. Start doing the same. Hedge Bitcoin, Ryan, it's the grit factor that will get you into harm. Yes and no. The grit factor hedge Bitcoin is the attempt to try to correct or to help a bad trade that happens. Instead of cutting it, giving the trade a little bit of room to for potential recovery. Now I look for the support resistance areas on the pair while searching for that recovery to happen. I look for price action hints as well to help me find those places where the market will bounce and I will be able to get out of that bad trade. Now, by the time that I have 2 trades in, so once I start basketing, that means that the trade is no good anymore. And at that point, I'm just trying to recover it. So basket trading can be a double-edged sword sometimes, where it can be great because it does help you get out of bad trades, but it can also be harmful because when you do lose, you lose quite a bit. Yes, hedge Bitcoin. My scalper is martingale. I know that unfortunately that is a bad word for a lot of people. I will be using it at the minimum lot size available on Oanda, which should keep me in confines of getting into too much trouble. Now, I'm not sure what account this is. 634. But yeah, it is a martingale, but I play it very safely. I trade when the market conditions are not too volatile. I don't trade during the news, and I don't trade when there isn't a lot of market volume. So it's conditional. It's a very conditional type of scalping. So again, can be a double-edged sword. It's a martingale basket trading, but it's on the 1-minute chart. And I look for particular market conditions when I trade it. So you won't see trades going in all the time. I know that a lot of people say that martingale doesn't work, but I have proven over the long term that with scalping it can work. You just have to be very careful with how you trade it. Now, and the reason why I say that it does work is because pretty much during those how many months are we doing now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're looking at 10 months. I did scalping almost exclusively, and I didn't have a wrecked account. So, the martingale did work, and I believe that it will work again if it's done correctly. Mozzie, yeah, it's because I'm using my laptop speaker, so it doesn't really drown out all the sounds. That's actually my cat's water filter. It's like a little fountain, and so it makes a little dripping sound in the background. So yeah, sorry about that. PP Nair 74. Yeah, I'll help you in just a second. I don't know if you're still around, but I can try to lead you in the right direction. All right, guys. I'm sure YouTube has said lots of fun things to me. So I don't think that it's worth even mentioning or going to YouTube, as there are usually lots of trolls on there saying, "Oh, you lost, you're a bad trader," all that kind of stuff. But I only lost 7% of my account. I'm still in profit. So for those of you that like to say mean things, just please get off my back. I understand that that people were following me, and that it's unfortunate to have losses, but you know, they do happen. It's to be expected. We can't avoid them. We can't avoid them all. And I guess ending the stream today, just wanted to apologize again for the loss, but I felt like it was best to cut it at this point at the 7% for a couple reasons. And one is because I told you that I wouldn't cut no more than 7%. And also, I feel like the outcome or the pound will continue to go down. Yeah, unfortunately, YouTube has given me some thumbs down just because of the losing trades. And so it's very interesting that YouTube will do that, where the streams that I have losing trades on, they get negative reviews. It's so fascinating to me that people are so gullible with this stuff, where they only want to see profitable trades, and if they see profitable trades, they're like, "Oh, thumbs up," you know. Come on, seriously. I mean, we all have had losing trades, and so do you as well. I mean, even the traders that feel like they know it all. So just be mindful of other traders, and that losses will happen. It doesn't mean that they're a bad trader. It just means that they had a bad day. I'm here for a reason. I'm here to help people to understand the markets. I'm not here to necessarily show them profitable trades all the time, because I can't do that. I can't show you a profitable trade every single session, every single day. But I can show you some tips of how to approach the markets, whether it's trend trading or counter trend or scalping. And that's what these sessions are about, guys. It's not about talking about or showing you that losses, that I can have losing days. That's just I like to show profitable trades when they happen, and I do, and I have in a lot of streams. But don't be so quick and easy to judge someone just because they're having a bad day. All right? Okay, so let's see if there's any remaining questions. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. I think I'm gonna close the stream. I'll see you guys again on Monday. There may be some trades tomorrow, but I only will pick the best opportunities. I'm here to protect the account. I'm here to play it safe. You know, I have money at stake as well here, as well as some of you do too. So it's important to keep things in the recovery path. And to negate risk. So I think that's it for the stream, and I will see you guys on Monday at the same time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.